Pump people, and welcome to episode 4 of Pump You Up. So far in the series, we overviewed the pump and a bit of its history. We took apart the wet end, the part that actually does the pumping of the water. We cleaned that up and put it back together. And today, we're going to worry about disassembling the oily end. So to do that, we're going to remove the motor and the flywheel. We're going to remove the rear and the side plates, which are, you can't see, but trust me, they're here. We're going to remove the connecting rod cap. We're going to remove the crankshaft. And then we're going to remove the connecting rod. And once we get that done, we'll be ready to clean up all the oil and all the crap that's inside it, and get ready for episode 5, where we put it all back together. Let's go. So here we are. We need to take the motor off, and we need to take the flywheel off. So the easy part to that is this is the easiest part, is to take that off. Now notice that come around the back, you can see that the way the motor's mounted, with this used to adjust the tension, and it pivots around this piece here. So what we're going to do is, instead of removing, we could remove the bolts here, and I probably will because I'll clean it up, but you don't have to necessarily, is we can just pull that bolt and that bolt, and we can lift it off, and that way we don't lose the tension. So to do that, dun, 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 ½ inch right here. Now this is seized up on the other end, which is working for us because it means that we don't have to put 2 hands into this operation, which will make it a little more difficult for you to see. And the other one right here. Notice that you can see that it's got a bolt underneath it to adjust it up and down. All we're really doing here is tightening. Whoop! Look at that. Isn't that fun? I'm going to need another your pliers to put underneath there. So hang on, I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back, and so I can do this with one hand. I've got those vice grips locked in against so they won't move. And we can turn that, bring it off. There we go. I do need to punch that bolt through. Maybe. Or maybe I can just pull it out with my fingers. Could happen. I see what's going on. I see what's going on. Well, you know that I'm going to pull that out. I need both hands, so I'll talk to you in a minute. Okay, so that's pulled out. All I need to do now is lift this off. And there's what we're left with. Got to pull the flywheel now. You see that's just a square bolt there that I just happened to, because I did my homework, have the right wrench for. Now the trick comes with how hard it's going to be to pull that off. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a screwdriver down in behind in that joint and see if I can, right there, see if I can fix that. Yep. So that pulls off. So now we're just looking at that shaft. And there's the other end. So here we are, oily end. There's the pump, piston, water end goes on here. This is the second piece we're going to take off. But this is is the first piece, and it's the end. So we take our 1.25 inch. Back it off, take it out, find out if there's any oil in this. No, not really, just like the rest of them. So I don't know if you can see in there. Back the piston up. You can just start to see the beginnings of it. There's a bolt right there. That's the end cap on the shaft. And in fact, it feels loose. Let's take a screwdriver and let's have a go at taking that end cap off. There's the, so that's the top end. Now we gotta, there, push it. You can probably see that bolt in there now, maybe if you drained really hard. There's the bolt out of the bottom, and we want to get to the other one, which is right there. And there. Wants to fall down inside for some reason. So all I'm doing is backing off that last screw or bolt, and it wants to, there, it wants to fall. So there's our end cap, and of course it goes around the shaft inside. So now we can pull the piston all the way forward, which will pull the shaft out, or the, what do we call that? The arm for the piston out of the way, and we can take these screws out. Notice the oil level and the bolt, so basically you fill this thing up until oil comes out of there, and then it's full. I don't think this has been full for a few years. Now that's got a cork, I think it's a cork gasket behind it, or it used to, should have, and this just pulls off like that. You see how absolutely filthy that is, and you can see our shaft there. Now the problem we're going to have is that the crank part has to come out, and you can see that it's an odd shape. Some of these comes out in the bottom, some of these comes out in the top, and I think this one comes out on the top because I can't figure out how it would possibly come out on the bottom. Right, that's in the way. So, and that's out of the way, so it's kind of got to come out there. Now, forgive me, but I'm going to tap this on the other end with a hammer or a mallet to see if we can bring it out. And there it is, out through that little hole. There's the crankshaft, dirty and flaked rust. Now remember, I told you this should be full of oil, and I don't think that you can see it, but it's just grunge down inside. There hasn't been oil in there in years and years and years. So there it is apart. Next step is to clean it all up and prep it for putting it back together. See you in a bit. So here we are at the end of tearing the oily end down. To review, we took this, we took the motor off it, and we did that with the bolt through here, the nut on here, pulled that off. We pulled the flywheel off, then we pulled the bolt out of the end, that'd be this thing, undid the end cap on the piston arm, or whatever we call it, moved it forward, pulled the crank out, and the last thing we got to do here is to pull the piston out, and it looks like that. This undoes here, in case that ever becomes important to know. This is just, we've got a brass piece into a pin around the piston, and then the rod. So now we've pulled that out, and now I'm gonna spend a little bit of time and get dirty, and I'm gonna take the Varsol to it, clean out all the grunge. I'm gonna, in my case, I'm gonna degrease it and take some rust sealant to it, repaint it. We'll come back next time, we'll be ready to put it together. All you really need to do if you ever take this end apart is to do what I've done here, clean it up and put it back together. All right, so I hope you've seen how easy it is to take this end apart. And I hope that in the end I've been able to pump you up.